Oh, there we go. Okay, that's a good idea.
Okay, so just to get us started, Keith, why don't you just tell us a little bit about what compelled you to run for public office, and this office in particular. Records and deeds are not everyone's idea of an exciting career, but what drew you to that?
Well, I think really I've been involved in multiple boards and committees over the years, and most people understand there's just bringing fresh eyes to and a different perspective to a position that intrigued me. But I think when I looked into it, I had somebody ask me about it, and I looked into the position. And when I went down there, I saw about 5 or 6 people in about a 20-minute visit that I knew from the area. And I tell you, that really, I got to tell you, that excited me, because I thought, wow, I work with people all over the country and have for 30 some years. And I still work with a lot of people locally, but to do that for a career, I know it's paperwork, it's administrative and all that, but you're working with a really good team of people in the office already. And I think it'd be just a new way to serve the community.
And the people that you saw that you knew, do you mean they were customers coming in, or they were, okay?
Yeah, just people coming through the office there. And I thought, wow, there was one, another coach I knew, and then another person, I didn't realize he was getting a marriage certificate or marriage license there. And then another one was coming in for that as well. And then who was it? He ended up being related to his bride was the daughter of a friend I knew from high school from way back when. Yeah, Dubuque is such a small town. It's a lot of fun to work with everyone.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened to the camera there. It's like went on its own there. I don't know.
That's okay. It's not a big deal. We can, as long as we can hear you.
Okay.
So what? How did you go about learning more about what actually goes on in that office? What were you able to do to kind of inform yourself about what the job really entailed?
Well, first, I heard from a couple other people that said that it'd be a good position to look at, and I thought that'd be interesting. And a friend said, yeah, they know what they're doing down in the office. You're basically leading the team there. And when I went down to talk with people in the office, I thought that was just, I mean, there's people who've been there 20 years, 20 or more. And other people that have retired from there or moved on, or other people that work within the county, I just asked questions. I mean, they were showing me different things on there, their website. You can access the forms and everything online as well as right in the office. It's kind of funny, even one of the gals I know from work here, I think it's her father is one of the sheriffs that at the front desk there when you check in there.
Mm-hmm.
Security. And he's like, oh, wait, we've seen a lot of you lately. He goes, oh, you're the new guy, right? I'm like, yeah, that's the new guy. Yeah, it's an administrative position. I see it as that, and leading the team there and working with a real strong group of people that know what they're doing, but being able to assist them and look for different ways to, see where to go next.
Tell us a little bit about your leadership style, Keith, and kind of how you've come to develop that style.
I would say, as far as the style, Amy, I'm more one, I like to see what's going on first. I see myself as an active listener. I'm not the kind, because I've seen this as a veteran in other units where people come in and you get a new CO and he wants to just change everything, because I'd rather see what's working well, and what areas need improvement, and then focus on that. And if you already have people that have been there for a couple decades, I'm sure they may have some ideas of their own that make a lot of sense. What can we do to improve? The whole idea is to serve the entire county and make it as, when people think about going to the courthouse, it's usually, as you said, not your first agenda of fun things to do. But as long as it's a simple process, and maybe it's something we can do online, I just thought it'd be some different aspects to looking at that. As far as the leadership style, though, I've always looked up to my coaches, and I guess listen to them so much that I understand there's people with a lot more knowledge and experience. That's who I'm looking to learn from, as I did with coaches and then being in the infantry and so forth in the past. You learn from people that have been around. You follow them, you mentor them, but then when you see there's an opportunity that you need to step up, or you take the reins. I did that even in basic training. I ended up being the platoon leader for my platoon down there because there was a time that somebody needed to step up. I saw the opening. I'm like, you know what, this just needs to happen. And sometimes you just do that. But I think listening to others first is a big thing, and really seeing what needs to be improved. I guess that's kind of been my style throughout. I've worked in, like I said, professionally in different things. I used to work with an event company where we did all the scoring systems and scoreboards, video screens for all the golf tours, X Games from the start, fishing tournaments, rodeos. I got really good at what I was doing. I was hired as a graphic designer and started going to events. And I noticed it took a long time to get in there, set everything up. And some of the events we went to had a 2 or 3 day setup. And after the day you drove in, and then the same thing for breakdown. And I switched that over. I said, there's got to be a better way to do this. And I had it where a person could do an event on their own, drive in the same day, set up in 30 minutes. And when it was over, they could pack up and head home. It took literally probably at least half our expenses down in that area. And just looking for efficiencies and processes.
Okay. And just backing up for our benefit, can you kind of walk us through your background in terms of years in the military and some of that coaching experience you referred to, and then a little bit of your work history?
Sure. I grew up in Dubuque, wrestled at senior high and University of Dubuque. I was team captain for wrestling on those teams. Did a little bit of football and cross country and track the last couple of years up there. And even in college, I worked third shift at the PAC, doing cleanup there. And then one summer decided it'd be a good idea to add a first shift job on top of that. So I literally went from third shift at the PAC, cleaning up, to go on to Eagle Window first shift down there in the summer. I found that was kind of unsustainable.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah, and in my spare time, I'd work out and hit some wrestling tournaments on the weekend. But yeah, began a career as a graphic designer. I did a lot of freelance work. I ended up moving down to North Carolina and worked with that event company, for 13 years there. And then that got to be a little overwhelming because I took on the job of 2 graphic designers and then got into the marketing and sales of it. And I took one division of that company from about 150,000 a year up to about 1.3 million annually in revenue for that one division there. And when Annette and I were looking for a place to raise the kids a little more long term, I think Noah was going into 2nd grade and Kirsten in kindergarten. We moved back to Dubuque here in 2005, and it's been a real blessing there. I was able to work with my brother Eric for several years, and then ended up working at Cottingham and Butler for several years too. Now I'm actually working claims at Cottingham Butler Claim Services here. I guess if you think about the event business, we worked all over the country and different parts of the world. I have not been to Alaska, Idaho, or Montana, but every other state I've got lots of memories from. And then when I worked with Platinum, it was more Midwest, from Albuquerque to Indianapolis, Fargo down to Texas. And then Cottingham Butler, it narrowed the travel down a little bit more to a few states here and there. And now I work in the office here at Cottingham Butler Claim Services, but I deal with people all over the country. And there's times when I've had a claim locally, which was nice. I was able to go downtown and check that out. And then one in Cascade a couple weeks ago. I don't mind the travel, but when I went down to the office and thought about serving for the whole county, I thought that would really just tighten things up a lot and be able to work with people locally. Yeah.
In your military experience?
Yeah, military. I was in the Iowa National Guard here. I got in 87. Like I said, I was a soldier of the cycle and basic training down there. Like our platoon or company that I was soldier of the cycle for, they're typically around 250 to 300 people, and then went to other leadership schools, PLDC and BNOC. Was tops in those at PLDC. I was soldier of the year in Iowa, and then in North Carolina too. I gotta say, the folks up in Iowa, it's a pretty tough crowd here. Some real good friends I still have up here. Yeah, so that's what I did over there. As far as other volunteering and such, since the kids were little, we were really involved in our church down in North Carolina. We were literally youth ministers with the high school and middle school kids before we had children. Then we started working in the nursery. Then we started working with the smaller kids as they grew up. And currently now our kids are grown and gone. I'm what's called the Stevens minister, where we help out with, I guess you could say, pastoral duties, whether it be possibly counseling or doing hospital visits occasionally here and there.
And what church is that?
Is that Grandview Methodist?
Okay.
Yeah, and as the kids were growing up too, yeah, we were heavily involved in theater with them. I was never involved with that in high school, but gosh, it's a good group. And I knew Fran Hedeman from town, and she goes to Grandview as well. And I'm glad we got involved with that, because it was a lot of fun with that and Rising Star Theater locally here. I'm creative. I was an art major and graphic designer in school, and then just when they have creative things that they might need, I make some unusual props and things like that. So it's a lot of fun with that. Still help out a lot with the theater and sets and stuff.
Okay, and so your stint with the Iowa National Guard was 1987 through when?
94.
Okay.
94 is got out. Yep.
Okay. And then do you have in your work life, have you had the experience of managing and supervising teams?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, because when we go to events years ago, it would be a different spot all over the country, and you'd have a different team of people to work with wherever you were. On the event side, the people that were our customers as well as our side. So there's a lot of not only prep work and administrative work getting that together, but imagine, I mean, we're out there working probably from 6 a.m. till it could be 8, 9 at night, sometimes later, depending on rain delays. And you've got to keep a good team happy and cohesive, because you are basically working nonstop with a team of folks for 2 weeks at every event, and you might switch over to another team here and there. So, yeah, a lot of experience doing that. Military was, team leader in the infantry units there. And then operations sergeant when I was in North Carolina on maneuvers with that. And then also, I guess, teams with sales teams and such as well. Not only with sports, but, keeping people on track with their goals. And that's probably the biggest thing I liked about it. I would really want to look at their goals. What are they looking to do? What are they looking to achieve? Because that's the biggest way I've found to help people to stick around and feel good about what they're doing. If you can help them focus on why they're doing it and the purpose behind our day-to-day work and tasks, because those can get mundane. As exciting as they may be sometimes, it could be some different things we have to do. But I think if you really focus on the purpose behind your work, and and just the people that you work with, and getting to know them outside of the person that just sits next to you in an office or someone that's working with a team, and just having that respect, knowing that everybody's going through their own things at home, but also you're all trying to achieve something here too.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer your question? Or
Yeah. And the sales teams like that you referred to, would that have been like a Platinum or Cottingham and Butler?
Yeah, Platinum there, yeah. And even at Cottingham and Butler, there's, I guess, just sitting down and working with people, and you're always bouncing ideas off. But even here with different processes that we do, we sit down with a team of people once a week, and you may look at different situations and get different perspectives. And I think that's always helpful too, to get a different perspective on and viewpoints from everybody in there.
Mm-hmm.
This communication is a big part. I think I really enjoy where I work now. It's a lot of fun. It's always something new. There's a ton of detailed administrative work. That's one thing I noticed, when you're in insurance, and when I was leading the team, I would always be checking applications and all the forms at least 3 or 4 times, because I knew my team's bonuses depended on it. And these guys wanted to make sure they're going to get paid and hit their bonus. But if the paperwork was incorrect, that's not going to happen. So I think just being detail orientated and, holding each other accountable, I think that was a big part of it. In a nice way, though. you got to make it fun for each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, certainly the work in the county recorder's office is that attention to details pretty vital on those,
Oh,
those
absolutely.
documents.
Yeah, and they've got all the documents. I don't know if they're all online or not. I've grabbed them from right at the front there where you go into the courthouse on the left. There's on the wall there. And yeah, just, I mean, I guess having so much experience in insurance and administrative work, they seem pretty straightforward on there. But yeah, you want to make sure everything's correct. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. And have you ever run for a public office before, Keith?
Never. I had never even thought about it. The part I like about this one is we don't vote on anything. It's not a legislative position. So I really see this as more of a service position.
And can you talk about why you opted to run as an independent candidate?
I think it's good to see both sides. And it's kind of funny that you asked that because the League of Women's Voters the other night, they asked about breaking the divide and crossing bridges. And this position here, the county attorney, the county treasurer, I would think there's no need for a political affiliation on these whatsoever. Like I said, it's non-legislative, just like judges. I'm sure you know some judges pretty close, right?
Sure.
You want them to be, just straightforward with you. You know, we're here to serve, not to vote on anything or create legislation. So yeah, I don't feel there's a need for a party affiliation on it.
Go ahead, Allie, you can jump in.
So I think you talked a little bit about certainly, kind of coming into the office and wanting to kind of hear from people and learn from them and their goals and things and things like that. Are there things that if you are elected that you would like to look at in the office in terms of efficiencies, or do you have any sense from what you've learned about the office of things you'd like to look into? Maybe we could do that differently or better. Have you given any thought to kind of areas of focus or what you'd want to do there?
Yeah, I think one thing that's been mentioned already is finishing up the digitization of the documents, making sure anything that needs to be accessed online can be accessed online simply. As far as the processes, I have reviewed that with some other people that have worked in that office before, and they've literally kind of gone step by step. And I'd have to see it firsthand on a day-to-day basis and talk with the people in person there. Yeah, that's something I'd rather get a little more input. Like I said, that's more my style, is to listen and to find out rather than say, just, I don't want to barge in and make changes. I mean, maybe they've tried things through the years possibly I don't know about. So I'd rather listen first, and see where the improvements need to happen.
And what are you doing to campaign and get your name out there and kind of hear from voters, Keith?
Just going out, knocking on doors, meeting people. I'm pretty active all the time anyway. Yeah, I've some friends that ask me, "You're never really home anyway." I get home typically. I might work till 6:30 some nights just to catch up on stuff. But I guess day to day, I'm usually involved in a lot of different activities, and I just go out and talk to people. Door knocking's probably, I think, one of the best ways, because people, when it's one-on-one at their door, they may mention things that they're not going to mention in other, larger crowds or anything like that. So I think it's just nice and refreshing. People have found that, for someone that's just looking to serve, because I don't see this. Some people have mentioned, maybe this, a stepping stone, I think they said, for other political office. I'm at the age now where I am not looking to get into politics whatsoever, and I think this is just literally a way to serve the county, and it just happens to be an elected position. But yeah, I think getting out, meeting people at events everywhere you go, that's just what I typically do anyway. I'm the kind of person, Amy and Allison, I like to go to the grocery store because you see so many people, you see Billy behind the meat counter and everything else. It's just a lot of people. You always run into somebody. You can't go anywhere in town or usually in the county. I was down in Worthington a month ago, and I walked out, another wrestler from West Dubuque. Right when I came out, it's like, "Keith, Lucy." I'm like, "Well, hey there." It's just, you see people all over the place, and that's really what I'm looking forward to.
And as you've been out and about and talking with folks and knocking doors, are you hearing, what kinds of things do people have to say about the recorder's office, or have most people interacted there, or do they have certain expectations of what that role how that should be filled?
Expectations, yeah, kind of as maybe Allison alluded to there too, as far as and you about political. Yeah, most people, they might not know what the recorder's office does, and I explain, they handle records, deeds, properties, marriage, birth, death certificates, and ATV licenses, and RVs and boats. But yeah, a lot of people didn't really know what they do. They ask political views, and I let them know, hey, we don't vote on anything, so I have no influence in this position anyway. This is a position of service, and that's what we're looking to do. Haven't run across, I guess some people that I have run across have dealt with people in the courthouse and in the office, definitely the frontline folks. They said, seems to be a great staff. But I've had other people let me know that they've had experiences with our folks, and just maybe there's better ways to work in the office there. That's all I'm looking to do. Just be a good, solid, contributing team member there. I'm like Eric Stearman, I guess that's one gal had mentioned there that he would literally, work the desk. It's busy. There's nothing, because the frontline staff are union workers as well, but there's nothing that would hinder us from literally working at the desk. I know we have other duties besides working at the desk, but to lend a hand, answer the phones, just like I said, be a live contributing member throughout the team there, and whatever I can do to assist on things, that's what I'm looking to do.
Do you think that's different than what's happening with the current county recorder?
I'd ask people that have worked there. That's what I would do. That's what I've done, and that's what I'd encourage anybody else to do.
Mm-hmm. And I know the John Murphy in the role of county recorder has been involved in some statewide, the Association of County Recorders as a legislative liaison and things like that, and some of the more statewide issues that pertain to that office. How important do you think that is?
I'm not sure. When I've talked to people about the position, and they said, well, actually, you get in and you go for training down in Des Moines and with all the Association of Recorders throughout the entire state. So there is the training, the aspects of how we interact and what those bodies do down in Des Moines. As far as getting into the legislative branch of it, I'd like to, again, to see how that works. I kind of look at it as church. We were extremely active in church, and then when I got onto the boards of the church too, I thought, well, I haven't done that side yet. And then when I got into that, it was interesting. People have a lot of different views, and I think that the most important thing is to work together. And I think the biggest thing is just if everybody works on a common goal to have the best possible service for whoever they're serving in their particular county. I think if you keep that in your main focus, you're going to do well and do what's right by the people.
We've raised the question before about whether there was any room for consolidation among county offices or sharing of services, those sorts of things. Perhaps the county recorder with the treasurer or with the auditor. Do you see any overlap there, or any room for perhaps some sharing agreement or shared services to make the county run more efficiently?
Again, I haven't been that deeply involved with it. I think that's something definitely to observe and see what could happen. I know the treasurer's office right now, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday by appointment, they have office space down in Dyersville that they utilize, which makes it easier for people to do the business of the treasurer instead of coming all the way to downtown Dubuque. Because Worthington and Luxembourg and Dyersville, some of these places, it's going to be a half hour, one way. Mm-hmm. And if you need business done during these hours, that's pretty difficult for folks. So yeah, I would like to investigate anyway. I don't know if it's been looked into a whole lot more, but maybe we could do the same thing if there's a way, if it would make sense to possibly do something like that on the opposite days, on the Friday and Monday by appointment. Whatever we can do to help serve the county, I think we should look into. And maybe things have been tried in the past I'm not aware of. I don't really know, and that's what I look to investigate that a lot deeper, to see what could be done, what needs are there.
And another thing we've we've kind of written about and discussed over the years has been the way the county compensation board works and how county elected officials, how it's determined whether or not their salary should be increased. Do you know much about that process or any thoughts on that?
I don't know that much about that, to be honest with you, Amy.
Okay.
My understanding is somehow, so the Teamsters is the union that runs the office there. I know that, and they've got their set scale. My understanding is, I could be incorrect, my understanding is somehow the county recorder's salary is based on whatever that union setup is there.
As some percentage or something?
Yeah, and I coming from private sector, I've never been in an elected position like this before, but I asked, I'm like, well, is there a way to, I mean, if they're doing a great job, is there a way to bonus the employees or to offer other incentives? Like, well, they're unions, so all that's locked in, that's out of your grasp. I'm like, well, can we, bring in lunch or something, or, just make it a better environment? Hey, if I don't want to get into their personal time or make anything required, but I think when you work with a team all day long like that, I think it's a good idea to have some time outside of the office time where you can get to know each other a little bit more. And if there's ways that I can facilitate that, I don't believe it's my understanding that we are not allowed to just hand them more compensation. That's all negotiated through the union there.
Yeah, I would imagine it kind of impacts your, the traditional leadership in terms of, in a supervisory position where you're used to, some of the pay is the biggest incentive you have, or reward for, performance. And given that aspect of the representation that they have, if you take that out of it, how do you sort of acknowledge, performance as outside of salary?
Mm-hmm. And there's I can think of several creative ways to do that. I mean, just like you would with a friend or anybody, I've asked people through the years wherever I worked, gosh, I'm looking for a good place to take my spouse out to dinner. Any good place that you like to go? What's a good place? And somehow people would find things like that on their desk. Don't need credit for it. And when I used to be in the sales on the event place, so many people would work so hard to make things happen. I mean, just working through the night, driving cross country, and all these kind of things with events. And I got paid well, but I would bonus out thousands of dollars to people. Just like, this would help out. That's one way is the money, but also let them know you appreciate it. Whether it's a T-shirt or a meal somewhere or dinner. Hey, let me get this. It's just to treat people with a dignity and respect. I see it more as nobody's boss, but a team captain and someone to encourage and to work with the team to make it the best it can be. I know it's the county recorder, like I said, it doesn't sound real glamorous, right? We're doing a lot of paperwork, but there's got to be ways to make it fun. And I think, like where I work right now, we've got a great culture, and just it's like being on the Yankees, or the 2016 Cubs. You want to be a part of that team. I think that goes a long way, just making people happy about the work they're doing. Like I said, treat them with dignity, respect, professionalism, and find out about them personally as they're willing to let you in there, about their life, and just let them know you value them as a person.
Mm-hmm. We've had some controversies, some issues arise in some of the offices in the courthouse in the last couple of years, but the recorder's office really hasn't been one of them. They've been, that's been a pretty steady Eddie for a long time. So what do you say to a voter who says, well, I don't know, I mean, status quo seems okay. You know, how do you convey to voters why it's time for a change, or why a change might be needed, or how that could benefit voters or county residents?
Yeah, I think most people understand there's a value of bringing in a fresh set of eyes and a new perspective. And I think what I bring to the table from a business experience and just a lot of positive input from other workers I've had throughout the years and experiences. I'm a little bit older, I know that, but I think, you know, going with those experiences, even with youth ministry and counseling and the Stevens ministry that I work with now, I think having those kind of life lessons, I think that's a huge value. You know, 20 more years of experience and in the private sector and working with people all over the country, I think there's a lot of varied experiences that can be brought to the table with that.
Yeah. What do you think would be, if you were elected to this position, what do you think would be the most difficult part for you personally in trying to adapt to this, a new position like this?
Probably the hours. They close at 4:30.
It's not enough hours for you?
When I used to travel all the time, and then I started working more local and being home every night, I'll be like, wow, that's really different for you, isn't it? I'm like, yeah, it'll be an adjustment. So, you know, I'll have to talk to Annette about that, you know. Just being home early. I'd say probably the biggest thing is I don't know. I think it's just working with a new team.
Mhm.
I don't see restrictions as far as incentivizing people, you know, that are doing a great job. There's always creative ways to do that. I like new challenges, but anything is just, it's a different process. You know, let's see what's working now. How can we, you know, are there ways that we can make it more efficient, ways we can improve upon it, or make it more enjoyable? If everything else is going great, how do we make it more enjoyable for the people coming into the office and the people that work at the office? I'm dealing with insurance claims now, Amy. So, you know, as exciting as that is, it can be pretty exciting someday, sure. But there's a lot of paperwork, documentation, all that kind of stuff there. So it's, yeah.
Allie, anything else on your radar that you want to bring up to Keith?
No, I think you hit either Amy asked my questions, or in the process of answering them, Keith, you answered the questions I was going to ask. So
Okay.
I'm all right.
Is there anything else from your perspective, Keith, that you think you know, you'd like to talk about, or like us to know, that, you know, kind of help us understand why you'd be a good fit for this role?
I think just, again, the many years of life lessons and experiences, people wouldn't realize. Yeah, I've been, like I said, not only working with ministry, but even growing up with my dad, Nick Lucy and Linda Lucy there. I was way back when, even on the picket lines. I don't know why I was there in the middle of the night, probably 5th or 6th grades, or and working across with different people from all backgrounds there. That's probably the only political experience I've had in the past. There was working with Dad on different campaigns here and there, stuffing envelopes, probably for Tom Yoakum and Mike Blewin and stuff, or Jimmy Carter. I remember way back in the day. Yeah, just, and then even, well, Ralph Charnow, you know him, right?
Sure.
He's our neighbor down the street. So yeah, I remember during COVID, he called up and needed someone to get groceries. So again, whatever I like to do, I think there's a stream of service that's got to be connected to it. And I think this is just a position that I think I'd be well suited for. I'm looking to step up and to do whatever we can to make it the best possible experience for the people that come in the door, as well as those who work in the office, to have a really strong team and be a contributing member of that team. That's what I'm looking to do.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, one more thing occurs to me, and please don't let me put words in your mouth, but I'm curious. A lot of times when, so you got into this race a little bit late, and a lot of times when that happens, I hear from candidates that they say, well, I think there should always be voters should have a choice. Was that something that entered into the decision for you, or what prompted it kind of later in the process?
Well, I think it makes sense to have a choice. I was actually talking with someone that works in the county office, and they were looking to get their name on the ballot for another position. And I said, "Oh, you can still do that?" He's like, "Yeah, you just need 100 names by next Wednesday." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, I noticed there was other positions out there." He's like, "Oh, you should look into that." He goes, "Yeah, if you want to do it." He goes, "Heck yeah, I'd support you. You're a heck of a good guy." He goes, "But you got to have names in by next week." And I got like 300 names in by, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday that following week. So like I said, in Dubuque, it's easy to meet a lot of people. So I was excited about it. I think when I looked into it more and just thought this would be a good way to serve. And then, like I said, when I went down to the office and saw it, it was a breath of fresh air. It's like, wow, you do get to work with everybody locally. And I haven't done that outside of volunteering. Gosh, I bet it's been, probably in the 80s and 90s when I worked in town at different printing facilities as a designer and waiting tables and things like that growing up. Yeah, I always enjoy working with people around the area.
Okay. Yeah, just curious about that. So, well, Keith, I appreciate your time, and thanks for chatting with us today, and good luck as the rest of the campaign goes on here over the next 20 or so days.
Yeah, it's winding down, it looks like. Yeah. Nice to meet you, Allison. Thanks so much, Amy. I appreciate your time.
You bet. You
Nice
too.
to meet
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Vote early. There you go. Bye.